Hello, hello, my friends. How are you? The Feel Better Workshop, day 2. Who's ready? I was playing a bit with the camera and I noticed the video was so dark yesterday, so I put another light in here. So if that's, it's like shining right on us. So I'm going to try to block it with my head, but I wanted to make it brighter for us. So again, welcome to day 2. I'm so happy to be with you all today. So excited to be spending time together and going over this invaluable information. So I just want to welcome you. And then really quick, well, before I get into that, let me introduce myself for the people who are, I noticed this morning there was a bunch of new people added requests to come in the group. So that's great. It means you guys are inviting people after watching the first day of the workshop. So that's great. If you haven't, definitely invite your friends. I've gotten such great feedback on day 1 and it's not too late and the replays are still there. So invite your friends. You can invite your friends to this group and they can take place in tomorrow's live as well and then catch up on the replays. To invite people to the group, you can just hit invite like at the top of the group, or you can send them the link. It's bit.ly, that's bit.ly/life in driver's seat group. And there's 2 S's, drivers and then seat. So driver's seat group. So go ahead and invite your friends. I would love to have them come and take in the information as well. So for those of you who are new to the group, or maybe this is your first time watching my workshops, my name is Jacqueline Emery. I'm a certified life coach, and I'm founder of a program and a podcast called Life in the Driver's Seat. And like I said yesterday, my work is all about helping people live more intentional lives. Most people are just in the passenger seat of their life. They're just getting through the day. They're just reacting to life as it happens to them. They're not consciously living. They're not being alive. And like I said yesterday, I love explaining it that way. It's just like being more alive, living a bigger life. So in my program, I teach people to be more intentional with what they're thinking and how they're feeling and how they're spending their time, and getting clear on the things that they want in their life and taking intentional actions to get that, so that we're creating our biggest life. We're feeling our best and creating our biggest life and reaching our full potential. So that's a little bit about me, a little bit of housekeeping. Again, if you have questions, please put them in the feed and I will come back and answer those. I'm just not going to be doing it throughout the workshop, just for time and for my attention. And one more important thing. I said I was going on at 12 o'clock every day for the 3 days. I have an appointment tomorrow that I have to be at, so I'm going to be doing this live at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So very important. So I know it was 12 the previous 2 days, but tomorrow it's going to be 11 a.m. So if you want to be here live, come here and meet me at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So sorry about that, but I do have an appointment I have to be at. And then for everyone else, catch up on the replays. I know the replays have been huge. So we are going to get into our topic for today. And we're just going to jump right into it too. We're going to just jump into, so if you missed yesterday, sorry, we're going over on each day, we're going over one myth of feeling better, or one misconception that we think is what's going to make us feel better, and then one feel better skill. So for today, we're just going to jump right into the myth number 2. And if you missed the first day, I highly recommend watching that one first, because they do build on each other. Okay? But if you're here live, that's okay. Okay. Let's get into feel better myth number 2, which is when I achieve blank, I will feel happy. And you can fill that in with whatever you want, right? When I achieve a thinner body, like that weight that I really want. When I achieve that job, that new job, that dream job. When I achieve that new partner I'm looking for. When I achieve just anything, that bigger house, whatever it is, fill that in. When I achieve blank, I will feel better. And it's this myth that if we get the things we want, right? If we can just get those things, those results, then we're going to feel better. But the problem with believing this myth, is because things don't make us feel happy. Okay. And maybe temporarily, right? Maybe you will temporarily feel better when you get that thing. But then what happens? We find out we're still us. We're still us feeling the same way, being the same way, just with a thinner body or a new partner or in a bigger house, right? And I'm sure you can think of times that that's happened, right? And what this creates is something I call moving target syndrome. It's like we're so convinced that this is the thing that's going to make us happy. And then we get it and we're like, oh, I'm not feeling, I thought this would make me feel better, but it's not. You know what? It's this thing. This is definitely the thing that's going to make me feel better. And so we're on to the next thing. We're like, we know this is definitely it though. Once I have this, then that's the ticket. And it's this like constantly moving target. We're like chasing this thing that's constantly out of reach. It's like this dangling carrot. And the cost when we do this is that we miss out on enjoying our present life, right? Like we're missing our present because we're chasing this hypothetical future that we think is going to be better than where we are right now. And the present moment, like our present life, is where life is lived. That's all we have is the present moment. And we speed right over it. Like we speed over it, just, like get this out, like it's this thing we need. But we do that forever, and the cost is we're missing out on living our life right now and feeling however we want to in this present moment. It's such a valuable knowledge to have, right? To know that we're doing that. It keeps you from focusing on, and another cost of it is it keeps you from focusing on what would truly make you feel better, right? Because you have this myth that it's this thing that you're chasing. And so we don't ever address like what actually will make us feel better. Because here's the truth. You can feel better today, in your life today. And it might seem hard to believe, but we're going to go through it. So hang with me. You can feel better today in your life without anything changing. I promise this is true. Today, without any new, you don't have to achieve or accomplish anything more or get anything more. You can feel how you want to feel right now in your current life. And an important thing here is like, so when we say that, it's like people sometimes hear, oh, okay, so we shouldn't try to grow, right? Like growing or wanting things is bad, right? And it's like, no, actually, if you listen to my work, and a huge part of my program is growing, right? It's finding out what you really want, getting clear on what you really want, growing, evolving. In fact, I believe that is when we are at our best. It's when we feel our best, is when we're stepping into the next version of us. It's when we're dreaming bigger and accomplishing more. I think that's what we're here for. I think that's when we are living into our true self and when we are our best self. So it's not that at all. The problem comes is when we think we're chasing it, right? So I always tell my clients, like, we don't change to feel better. We change from feeling better. It's such an important key, okay? Like we grow from feeling good, not to feel good. We're not believing the lie that somewhere over there is better than here, right? Like we feel good first. We learn to love our life now, and to feel good now, we learn that skill, and then we grow from there. Because again, I feel like when we're at our best self, when we're not held back by fear and doubt and anxiousness and insecurities, like that's just what comes out. We want to grow, right? Like there's an unhealthy way of growing, which is like, I don't feel good and I need to grow to feel better and chase happiness. And then there's like, I grow because that's who I am. Like that's my best self. And when I'm feeling my best, I'm going to want to grow. So nowhere in this do I want you to think that, wanting these things and growing and achieving more is bad. Absolutely not. That's a huge part of my program. That's what it's about, getting clear on what we want. And then we coach and we get it. We get after it. And I want my clients to dream big. The important thing is that's the second half of my program, right? Like we learn these skills first. We learn to be happy now. We learn to feel however we want now. And then we move into, all right, now that you're equipped with these tools and knowing this knowledge, now let's see what you can create, okay? And so just at the bottom here, feeling better isn't something we chase. It's something we create, okay? It's not something we chase. It's something we create. And that's what we're going to be talking about today and over this 3-part series. All right, so yesterday we discussed, hopefully you watched the first one, but yesterday we discussed circumstances, right? And how most people are trying to control things outside of them in order to feel better, right? They think it's the things that are outside of them that are causing them to feel how they feel. And today, this myth is focused on believing our results right? The things that we get are going to somehow create our happiness. So most people are very focused on, right, their circumstances, like controlling other things, or like we're talking about today, their actions, like what they're doing in order to create new results that they think are going to make them feel better. So very focused on action, action, action. Okay. So, if they think this new job is going to, bring them happiness. So they're like, what do I have to do? Right? I have to, make the perfect resume. I need to, I have that sent to me all the time. Like, how does my resume look? Right? It's like, I have to make this perfect resume. I have to, polish my interview skills. I have to, reach out to all these people, or it's like dating, right? I have to be on all these apps. I have to go on this many dates. And they're very focused on, right? Action, action, action. What are the right actions that I have to take in order to get this result that's going to bring me happiness? But these results aren't what makes them feel better, right? They get those things. It's not what makes them feel better. So all of that time and energy that everyone is focused on, right? They're spending all their time and energy on these actions, right? It's a waste of time and energy that could be directed to what really is the root cause, what is really going to make them feel better. And again, from that, create more. And that is our identity. Okay. And sorry, I'm looking at my notes really quick. Your identity is where, I think of it like your actions, or like the actions we take or things like that. It's kind of like spraying the leaves green on a tree, right? We're like, my leaves are brown, I'm not happy. Let me spray it green and do all these things. But it's like the roots aren't healthy, right? So until we address that, and that's how I think of like our identity is the real cause, right? That's where our power lies. That's where our the power and the transformation, the opportunity to change and transform and become different and feel different, that's where it lies, okay? And I'm just going to be honest and vulnerable. Like, I have lived in a multi-million-dollar home and felt complete despair. Just felt absolutely, absolutely horrible, hated my life, okay? I've also lived in a tiny apartment or tiny condos and felt completely at ease and peaceful and content. Or have you ever known someone who's like very thin and fit, and you think that they're so beautiful and that they're so insecure, right? They just like think terrible of themselves, and they're not confident. And then someone who's like maybe way heavier than that person, right? Doesn't do all those things to stay really fit, and they're completely happy and confident. It's because it's not the house or the money or the weight or the body that's creating how we feel. It's what we're thinking. It's how we're seeing things. It's our perspective. It's our identity. It's how we're moving through life. It's the thoughts that we're thinking. So what is our identity? Our identity is the thoughts that we're thinking on an everyday basis. It's thoughts that we're thinking now. It's our current thoughts. It's things that we've thought since we were young. It's what we believe. It's our beliefs. It's literally how we see everything and everyone around us. It creates our reality. Okay, it's like our programming as well. And programming can be things that we've been told since we were young, right? Like maybe the things that our parents have told us, right? It creates our programming and like what we believe, how it shapes how we see the world, right? And how we interpret things and how we interact. I like to say, well, and most of these things are unconscious too. That's very important, right? Like our identity and the things like most of us aren't even aware of what we're thinking and feeling and of our real identity. Like we don't think about that, okay? It's just unconscious. It's just something that's playing and affecting how we're living and feeling and living our life. I like to sum it up by saying it's the lens through which we experience and create our life. That's what our identity is. It's like a lens, right? Like we're all living in this world and we all have a lens that we're seeing it through, and it's creating our reality. So your identity is the lens through which you experience and create your life. Very important. So while most people are focusing on, right, the actions and the things that they have to do to create things, or the circumstances, right, both of those things, the real change isn't happening there. The real change is happening in you, who you are, right? Otherwise, like all of those things, we're not even going to see them the way that they are and be able to create them the way that they are. So the real change is inside in our identity, which is why The skill of learning to think on purpose is so important. It's one of the most important things you can do for yourself, hands down. I have been through so many teachings, and I actually went to school for psychology, so I studied that for a bit, and I've been in so many programs and so many things. Nothing has changed me the way this work has. When I found it, I'm like, oh, that's the truth. Like, that's what it is. It's like it changed everything, like in every category of my life. I'm like, oh. So I'm going to teach you that this skill today. We're going to talk about the skill of thinking on purpose, okay? So feel better, skill number 2, thinking on purpose. And why is this so important? Because your current thoughts, how you're currently thinking, is creating how you currently feel and your current results in your current life. And this is happening on a micro level, like a day-to-day basis on, the smallest things, which I'm going to show in a second. But it's also happening on a macro level, like where we talked about your identity, like your beliefs. So beliefs are just thoughts that you've thought over and over and over again until they become beliefs. So these are like deep things that affect you on a deeper level, but this is also happening, really, we're going to talk about a micro level, just on your day-to-day basis, how thinking is affecting how you feel. And if you've heard this, right, maybe you've heard this other places, maybe you've heard this from me, and you either don't believe it, like it seems too simple or too easy, or you've heard that before, or you haven't found it effective, I promise you it is because you haven't opened up to it or implemented it or experienced the absolute transformation it can have in your life. Because once you do, it's like this epiphany. It's like, it's everything, right? So I just challenge you to really be open to hearing it in a new way and like for the first time. And really, I'm going to, at the end of this, at the end of today's episode or part 2, I'm going to teach you just a very simple process that you can use that I just want you to practice and just see what happens for you. So in order to show you how your thoughts are creating your current feelings and your current reality, I'm going to show you like a tool that I created. It's called the Life Creation Cycle. If you listen to my podcast, I'm certified by the Life Coach School to teach the model. So similar to that, this kind of fits my program and my teaching better, okay? But they're all pointing to, this is a universal truth. It's all pointing to cognitive behavioral therapy, that in psychology, that kind of thing, where your thoughts correlate with what you're thinking and the actions that you're taking and your reality that you're creating, okay? So let's look at the life creation cycle. So what you have is, this is you. And this is you. This is your current life, your current reality. So up here we have thoughts, okay? So thoughts create feelings in us, okay? They're feelings in our body. These feelings lead to actions. Your actions are always driven by how you're feeling. And then your actions create your results, which is ultimately your life, okay? And then in here, again, this is you and this is your current reality. You're inside of this, right? This is the reality you're creating. Outside of here, all of these little dots that I put around here, those are circumstances, okay? So these are circumstances that are outside, right, our control, right? These are all out here. These are not in our control. It's like the weather, someone passes away, someone doesn't call you. Like these are all just the circumstances of life. And then this, right, this is what is in your control. I should star that because this is where it starts, right? Like that's where all of your power lies. Like that's where it's optional, right? All of this stuff is not. This is where your choice starts, right? So all your thoughts are a choice. So what happens is most people, like we talked about yesterday, are blaming their circumstances for how they think that this out here is how they feel, right? And so let's say, I just want to show you how this isn't true, right? Because you might be like, well, no, I know for sure that, the president is making me really mad, right? Like that is causing me pain. And I just want to show you how that's not true, okay? So let's take a circumstance from out here. Let's say your dog dies and you think that your dog dying is making you feel grief and sad, okay? Like you're like, no, that is making me feel grief. But your husband might be thinking completely different thoughts about it, right? Like your thoughts might be, he was the best dog ever. I'm never going to find another dog like him. He went through so much with me. He was always there for me, right? And so you're feeling grief. Your husband lost his dog and he's thinking, I don't have to pick up poop anymore. Your husband might be a jerk if I'm just, just giving you an example. He might be thinking, I don't have to pick up poop anymore. Those vet bills were so expensive. At least I don't have to pay those anymore, right? Oh, no more barking. Like he might have a completely different set of thoughts that make him feel completely different, right? He's having completely different thoughts that are making him feel completely different about the same circumstance. So if it was that circumstance making you feel that way, then everyone would feel the same way, but they don't. And let's use the president because that is such a relevant topic, right? So people are sure that the president, the circumstance out here, is for sure making them feel rage or fear, or the last president is making them feel angry and unsafe, right? Like we're sure it's this president or the last president that's making us feel a certain way, right? But the thing to look at is if the president was making everyone feel a certain way, everyone would feel the same way, but they do not, right? Based on the thoughts that they're thinking about it. It's not the circumstance. There's always thoughts in between there, right? It's not the circumstance. The thoughts always come between the feelings, right? Circumstances don't go to feelings, right? There's always thoughts that happen first. And knowing this fact, knowing this nugget of wisdom will change everything for you. It is always what we're thinking that is causing our feelings. No circumstance, no person, no anything is making us feel a certain way. We might be like, yeah, but I want to choose that thought. Like, I want to choose to be angry at that person. I want to choose to be mad at this president or the last one or whatever. But just knowing that it's not forcing you to feel any way is just a truth that will change everything for you moving forward. Okay. So the other thing people do, right? So people focus on circumstances or people focus on their actions. So people are very hyper-focused on circumstances or they're focused on actions to get themselves to feel better, right? Because they think the results that they're going to create are going to make them feel better. So let's look at that. Let's look at when we focus on our actions. So say we're trying to, create a better relationship. Okay. So we're like, what can I do to just create this relationship? Okay. I'm going to, schedule a date night. I'm going to schedule a sex night. I'm going to, set aside like 10 minutes to communicate, right? Like we come up with all these actions that we're going to take, right? In order to create our result. But what happens is our thoughts are, my husband's so selfish. He doesn't put enough effort. He never picks up after himself. I'm doing all the work, whatever. And then that's creating a feeling of resentment, bitterness, whatever. And then here we are trying to take action of like, okay, let's have a sex night and a date night and whatever. And then we wonder why we're not creating that result. We're wondering why it's not working, right? And then it continues, right? So that's why this is a circle, right? Then our thoughts become like, I knew it, right? I knew that relationships don't work, whatever. And then that creates more feelings, okay? Or what about, I should have put it, okay. So anyway, so what happens is people are either, like I said, focused on, but the best news is, right? It's not any of that, but the best news is how we think, right? The thoughts that we're thinking are a choice, right? They're optional. And so that's where all of our power lies. And that's why I started. This is where everything starts. Your thoughts are a choice. And that's the best news ever, right? Because it means that this is in our control. Like this is how we feel is in our control, right? We have power over that. So, or even like a good example, looking at my notes, is like losing weight even, right? Like let's look at one more example where we're focusing on action, right? So I have clients come to me and they want to lose weight and they're like, okay, what do I have to eat? Like, what are the best proteins and the best fats? Like, let's figure out our macros. Let's figure out what we should eat. And I have to find this perfect way to eat and this way I love to move my body. And then I'm going to create this result of losing weight, right? But when their thoughts are, I never stick to anything. I'm not meant to be thin. I'm meant to be heavy. This is so hard. This is going to be so hard. How long am I going to have to do this? Right? But then they're taking all these actions. They're like, but I'm working out and I'm eating well. Eventually we just exhaust ourselves, right? We spin our wheels and spin our wheels, working against ourselves, working against how we feel, right? Because these thoughts are creating exhaustion, right? And we might start off, right? When you start a new diet and whatever, you're so excited. You're like, this is it. This is going to be different, right? And then what happens? Our true identity in life coach school, they used to teach us like your identity is like a pole that you're rubber banded to. And you can take action all you want, but eventually you snap back to, and I love that picture, you're going to snap back to your identity. So first we start out so excited. We're like, this is it for sure. I can't wait. And then eventually we're like, we find our identity come back in where it's like, this is really hard. I don't know if I'm meant to do this. It's probably all worthless anyway, because I always gain it back, right? And then we're feeling defeated. And we're still trying to do this action from feeling defeated. And then eventually what happens? We just quit again because our feelings are defeated. That's not driving the actions that we're trying to take, right? We're trying to take all these good actions from the feeling of feeling defeated. And then our results are we don't lose the weight, right? We quit. And then that goes to our thoughts. And we're like, I knew it. See, I knew I wasn't meant to be that. I knew I never stick to anything. Right? So do you see the power of it? Do you see the power of how we're thinking? It's everything. Our identity is everything. So let's look at, there is intentional ways of thinking, and then there's unintentional thinking, right? So there's just automatic thoughts that we have that just come up, like our brain just offers us thoughts. And then there's thinking on purpose, okay? There's intentional thinking. So let's look at how that plays out, okay? So most people are going through life and they're living on autopilot, okay? They're just getting through the day. They're not paying attention to what they're thinking, which is a skill we're going to get into. Like, we're just living our life. We're just in our thoughts, right? We're living our thoughts out. We're inside of our thoughts. We're one with our thoughts. We're not paying attention to them, okay? So we're thinking on autopilot, which is how most people are living, right? Just on autopilot, just getting through the day, not being conscious. That's what my work is all about, getting us out of that and getting us to aliveness, right? And intentionality, which is where the best life lies. So most people are thinking on autopilot, and some studies show 60,000 thoughts per day. I don't know where they get that. Like, some people probably have like 2. Some people probably have double that, right? The ones who are crippled with anxiety, right? So I don't know. They say 60,000 per day, and 80% of those being negative. And again, we talked about the human brain yesterday and why that is. We don't blame our human brain. It's just doing that to keep us safe, right? It's just there to keep you safe and alive. So it's offering you negative thoughts, right? It's looking for the negative in order to keep you safe. So 80% of our thoughts are negative. So think about that. Think about if you're having 60,000 thoughts per day and 80% of them are negative and they're just going unchecked, right? Think about the compound of that. Like when that compounds, think of how that's making us feel, right? My coach used to talk about it like a toddler with a knife. Like our brain's just like a toddler with a knife running around. It doesn't mean to do anything better, right? It doesn't mean to hurt us. But if we don't pay attention to it, and if we don't parent it and intentionally decide what we want it to do, it's going to cause some damage, okay? So 60,000 per day, 80% negative, and we're completely unaware of this. We're unaware of the effects that it's having on us and how we're feeling, right? We just think it's the circumstances and the C's and T's, right? The circumstances and the action or the results or whatever. We're focusing on the wrong thing, right? We just think it's all these things happening around us, like the things we don't have, or I put T's, but I meant circumstances and results, right? We just think it's the circumstances around us, or, it's what that person did, or it's the results that we don't have yet. Like, we're completely unaware of what's going on in our brain and how it's absolutely molding how we feel and affecting how we feel. So let's look at some unintentional thoughts versus intentional thoughts, okay? And again, these are just these are just things that you're experiencing on an everyday, just things that come up every day, things that clients bring me. The clients bring me these things, okay? So let's say this is the circumstance. Husband forgets your birthday. So your husband forgets your birthday or your anniversary or whatever. And your thought is, he doesn't love me. He doesn't care about me. Maybe he's selfish, maybe you make it about you, like whatever it is, right? And so your feeling is angry, right? Angry, lonely, whatever. We'll stick with angry. And then your action becomes, maybe you yell at him, maybe you have a fight with him, whatever. And then that result creates what? Creates a not connected relationship, creates husband not caring, right? Like we're creating what our thought is, right? And our thought will always reflect in our result, right? Like what we think, we create, which is so fascinating. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute, is like our brain, literally, if we think something, our brain will go to work to prove that correct. It will do everything it can to prove that correct. It's like, okay, got it. It's like a computer. You put that in and it's like, got it. And it's just looking for that and it's getting you to take action that way. And it's getting you to create that result. It's fascinating. So let's look at another circumstance. Let's say your friend doesn't invite you over. Like your friend doesn't invite you, find out they had an event. They didn't invite you to it. And your thought is, they're a bad friend, right? They should have invited me. I invited them to mine. Like, what do they not like me? Right? And your feeling is frustration and hurt and right. And so that's your feeling. And then your action is, maybe you don't answer their call, or maybe you're icy to them, right? Like maybe you're passive aggressive. You don't bring it up, but you, also aren't going to be nice to them, right? You're going to let them know something's not quite right. Right. And then the result is a not connected relationship with your friend, right? Or maybe you're a distant relationship. Maybe you create your friend not liking you. And then you're like, see, I knew it. I knew that friend, didn't like me. I knew they were, and it's like, well, you just created that, correct? Or another circumstance, the scale, maybe you step on the scale and the scale hasn't budged. You're like, it's been a month and I still haven't lost a pound. And your thoughts are, this is too hard, right? This is not working. This isn't worth it, right? I hate doing this. How long do I have to do this for? And your feeling is frustration, doubt. And then your action is, screw it. I'm going to eat, right? I'm going out tonight. I'm getting dessert, whatever. This isn't even worth it. And then your result is, right? It's too hard to lose weight. You're not someone who sticks to anything, right? Versus, let's talk about intentional thinking. And I'm going to teach you like a process for this. I actually work with my clients on this and repeatedly, right? And again, micro level and macro level. Micro level just day to day, but macro level deep work that's stopping you from creating what you want in your life. Let's look at intentional thoughts. Same circumstance. Husband forgets your birthday. Your thought comes up and you're like, he's so selfish. He's this, he's that. And you're like, you know what? Let me really sit down. Let me redirect my brain here. Let me try to find the thoughts that I also find true and that are going to make me feel better right now. Okay. He has been stressed at work. He's been working a lot. You know what? He did take the garbage out yesterday. Like he did that. Whatever. Start thinking of good things about him. He's funny. He's this, whatever it is. Or maybe you think of things you're grateful. Again, I'm just throwing out examples. This would be on you. It's your work. Then the feeling becomes compassionate, maybe even neutral. Maybe you're like, you know what? It's fine. Or maybe it's compassionate. Maybe it's grateful, whatever. Then that feeling is going to push a very different action. Maybe when he gets home, you're like, you know what? It's my birthday. You tell him it's your birthday. You make plans. Maybe after you think those thoughts and you feel that, you're like, you know what? I'm going to get on the phone and I'm going to plan a birthday dinner. The result is, right, a more connected relationship. A relationship, it's like you're getting what you want, right? And feeling better about it, right? I just don't subscribe to, it's like wanting other people to meet these like expectations in order to make me feel like if I want a good birthday, I'm going to create a great birthday. Like it just doesn't faze me. It's like I can create that for myself. I'm not going to be like, he didn't bring me flowers on Valentine's. I'm going to give myself flowers if that's so important to me. And it just creates this like ease of living for everyone involved. It's like, it doesn't mean that you can't have, that you shouldn't be treated a certain way or like whatever. It's like, no, because you're free to leave and do whatever you want, right? But staying and wanting like everyone to be different is it's like a miserable place to be for everyone involved. So again, it's like, it's a choice how we think about things, right? Like our perspective on things is so powerful. So same thing. Friend doesn't invite you to an event and you feel it come up. You're like, oh, this person, I can't believe they've invited so-and-so and they didn't invite me. And you feel that come up and you're like, you know what? This does not feel good. I do not like feeling this way. How else could I look at this? Okay, let me think of some thoughts. You know what? I did hang out with someone without that person, right? Like, of course people need time with other people. That's life. Sometimes we're not invited to everything. I don't invite everyone to everything that I'm at, and it's like, I haven't reached out to them in a while. Like you start thinking things that make you feel in a completely different way, where most people they don't even realize it's in their power. They're not intentional with it. They're just like, that's how I feel, right? That's what I think. That's how I feel. And it's playing into our everyday and it's affecting our well-being, right? So you think those thoughts, you're like, you know what? I haven't reached out in a while, or like, of course they can hang out with other people. I hang out with other people. And then your feeling is, you know what? Maybe hopeful, maybe again, compassion, understanding, whatever. And then your action is, you know what? I'm going to text them, see if they want to hang out. If I want to hang out with them so bad and I'm mad that they didn't invite me, like, why don't I just reach out and invite them? I'd love to see them. I'm going to make that happen. Right? That's why with my friends, I'm like, if I want to see you, if my friends are watching this, they're like, I am a total introvert. It just doesn't bother me if I'm not invited to things or like if people don't, but I'm saying I would take it into, right? If I want that, if I'm in the mood for that, I'm an introvert, but if I'm in the mood for that, I'm going to text and be like, hey, do you want to go to dinner tonight? I'm just not going to sit and be like, they haven't texted me in a month. It's like, it's not a way to feel good, right? It's like, do it for you. Even if you're like, yeah, but blah, 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 but these people and this, whatever. It's like, don't do it for them. Look at it for you. Do it to feel better for you. Look at it in a selfish way. Be like, I'm doing it for me. Okay. If you can't get to the place where you're wanting to think different about someone or think like, do it for you. Do you want to feel that way? Then learn to think on purpose. Last one, again, the scale hasn't budged, right? We step on, we're like, oh my gosh, you feel that dread just come over you. And then you're like, you know what? Wait a second. How would a person think who has that result that I want? I want to lose 20 pounds. How would that person think right now? That person would be thinking, just because the scale hasn't budged doesn't mean it's not gonna, right? Who cares what the scale says? This is a lifetime, right? This is something I want to do for the rest of my life, right? Versus the person who's thinking, how long do I have to do this for? The scales. It's like, no, the person who has the weight loss would be thinking, I love taking care of my body. It feels so good to move my body. It feels so good to eat nourishing food. They're not going to be thinking this scale hasn't budged, right? It's something to look at. The person that creates that result is thinking very different thoughts, right? So again, we were talking about this on a micro level here, like just day to day. But I put down here, thoughts become beliefs. And that's where we come into like the macro level here. And I want to make sure I'm talking and I'm not even looking at my notes here. So yeah, these are simple, but I'm right on track, but these can also be deep beliefs. Okay. They turn into, so I want you to think your beliefs are just thoughts you've thought over and over again. Okay. Like that's what beliefs are. They're just thoughts you've thought over and over again until they become beliefs. So again, I was talking about it on a micro level, like these are just thoughts, right? But some thoughts that are on repeat for so long become who we are. They become these like beliefs that we have in the identity that we've stepped into. And those are a little different, right? So say from when you were young, like maybe your parents were like, didn't like people with money, right? I've known people like this. They're like, oh, I was raised like my family thinks those people are evil, right? Those are bad people that take advantage of people. Okay. So maybe it's like, you've been told people with money are evil, or people don't like people with money, or, if I have lots of money, people are going to ask me for lots of stuff. I'm going to have to be like taken advantage of, and people are always going to want something, or like, I'm going to have to be stressed out and work terrible hours. Like these are the things that are going on in your brain while you're going out and trying to get a raise or make more money. And you're wondering why it's not, why you're not creating that, right? It's because your brain is literally working against you and you don't even know it. You're like, why can't I do this? Like, why can't I make more money? Why? And it's like, because there's a cognitive dissonance there between the actions you're taking and what your brain is thinking, right? What your belief system is. And that can only happen for so long, right? There's a great, quote by Maxwell Maltz, and he says, "It is impossible for a human being to consistently behave in a manner that is inconsistent with their own self-image, with their own thoughts and beliefs." It's impossible. It's impossible for a human being to consistently, and I think that's the key word there, consistently. We might go out and do it, right? It's kind of like losing weight. Like, we get excited, we're going to whatever, but not consistently. We'll go back to our identity. It's like we can't work against our brain but again, we can get our brain to work for us. And that's where the magic happens. That's where the true transformation lies, in feeling better and getting what we want. So another deep-seated thing, it's like, maybe you were in like a divorced home, right? Like maybe you watched your parents have a horrible relationship and you come from a divorced family, and then you're not even aware of it, but your deep belief is relationships have to be hard, right? They're difficult, right? They don't last. That's a deep fear, right? They don't last. They're always going to end. And so you're unaware of these beliefs, right? And then you're out trying to create a relationship and you're wondering why it's so difficult. Because your belief is that. It's deep. It's your identity. And even if we somehow push through the actions, right? Like we work against our feelings, right? And we push through and we take those actions in spite of feeling, defeated or whatever it is. And we still just keep trucking through, even though it makes it very difficult. It's like going uphill, right? Instead of working with our feelings, we're working against them. Even if we can do that, it's very difficult. But sometimes people can do that, even if we push through those actions and work against our feelings and we create the result. We don't even experience it. We can't even experience it in the way that we want to. And it's hard to keep them, right? Because again, if we get that relationship, but we somehow work through that and we create this relationship and we get married or whatever, we can't, one, experience it, right, the way that we want to, and two, we have a hard time holding on to that result because our brain's going to work self-sabotaging us. Right? Like we're self-sabotaging that because our belief is it's going to end anyway, right? Like it's hard. It has to be hard. So again, it can stop us, our beliefs, right? Once we think things so long, they become beliefs. Those beliefs can make us unable to create results. Or if we do create the result, we can't even experience the way we want and it's harder to sustain it, okay? But when we learn to think on purpose, we can create with ease. We can feel how we want. We can create with ease and create results that stick, that are sustainable, okay? So I want to teach you a quick process, like I'm calling it the think on purpose process. This is going to be your actions that, I wanted to say one more thing. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. There is I just put on here a great podcast I did a podcast called Proved You Right. And if you go on Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts and look up Life in the Driver's Seat, that's my podcast, there is an episode called Proved You Right. And my client this past week was like, oh my gosh, it taught this concept, this from that podcast. She's like, to my daughter, because it was so good. She was like, and then she taught her friend because it was so powerful. But it's called Proved You Right. And it's about what I was talking about a little bit earlier, about our thoughts when we think them, about our brain going to work to prove those right. So if you have these beliefs, your brain, you're not even aware of it, but subconsciously is going to work creating that result, proving you right, scanning everything, every person, every situation, everything that happens in your day. It's unbelievable. But it's like, yeah, proved you right? It's going to do that. That's the power of your brain. So until we learn to intentionally change what we're feeding it and what we're telling it, which takes work, it's going to keep defining the way we're living life and we're feeling and we're creating. Okay. So that's a great podcast. I just wanted to quickly tell you that to go listen to Proved You Right. So to sum it up, and I'm going to give you actions to take from this from this part, your power to feel better and create a better life lies in thinking on purpose. Like, this is where your true transformation lies. Intentionally choosing different thoughts, building new beliefs, and stepping into a new identity, stepping into a new way of being, a new way of feeling, a new way of taking action, a new way of seeing the world, a new way of creating results. When you think on purpose, you can feel however you want to feel. Think of all those examples. When you change, when you intentionally change how you're thinking and you think on purpose, you can feel however you want to feel. You don't need a new partner or a thinner body or more money or a new job. You can feel that way right now, today, in your current life. Does it mean, again, that we don't change? No, that's not what I'm saying. It means we don't chase things in order to feel happiness. We don't believe the lie that it's somehow going to be better over there. It's not. It's not going to be better over there. You're going to feel the same just with all those things. Don't believe the lie that it's going to be better than where you are right now. You can create that right now. And again, we can also use these intentional thoughts and feelings to drive action and create new results in a much easier and more sustainable way, which is what we are going to talk about tomorrow. So do not forget to tune in tomorrow. Again, it's going to be 11 a.m. Probably the best one. I'm like, ooh, as I do that one, I'm like, tomorrow is going to be so good. Not that these 2 days aren't amazing. This is life-changing information. But you're going to love tomorrow. So make sure to tune in. So thinking on purpose is a win-win. We feel how we want to feel now, and we create results that stick. The power is yours when you know this skill, how to think on purpose and just knowing where your feelings come from. Like, that's such a powerful thing to know where your feelings come from. Because I'm going to tell you, most people do not know. They don't know. My client, she's like in her 50s, and she was like, the only thing I regret, she's been working with me for over a year now, and she's like, the only thing I regret is that I waited so long to learn this. And I said, no. Change your thought on that. Think, I'm so grateful I learned this, no matter what my age is. Because most people go their whole life. They go to their grave without realizing this. So what a blessing, like what gratitude, right? It doesn't matter the age. It's just that this has come to you. This information has come to you, right? It's just such a powerful thing to know in this life. And it seems so simple. So I'm going to teach you a process. It seems so simple, right? It's like, oh yeah, now I know. Now I know why I feel how I feel. It's my thoughts. And it seems so simple, right? But it takes so much practice. It seems so simple. It's simple, but it's hard, right? Like, it takes practice. We've been thinking, some of my clients, for 30 years, 40 years, right? Thinking these thoughts. And then we think, great, we get it. Great, now we know our thoughts are creating our feelings, and we just think we should just magically be able to, like, life's different. So my clients come to me like week after week, and they're like, oh, I did it again. Like, I did this, I yelled at, I cried at this, and I know it's in my control. And it's like, of course you did. Your brain has been thinking this and building this identity of your whole life. You don't get to snap your fingers and think that it's just going to be different. And so just this past week, I was talking about this and I was like, ooh, I need to do a podcast on that. It's like, I told her, it's like one of my clients, it's like your body, right? Your mental well-being and your mental health is like your body. You don't get to just get on the treadmill one day or have someone tell you how to work out, explain a workout to you, or get a treadmill and get on it once and eat really good for one day and then think that you're going to be thin and healthy for the rest of your life. No. You got to get on the treadmill and eat that way that's the way of life, right? If you want to keep and sustain a healthy body. And it's the same with our mind. It's the same with our emotional well-being, which is the most important thing to us. It takes getting on the treadmill, right? Working it and knowing that, yeah, you're going to be tempted by whatever food, right? You're going to be tempted to get mad at when your friend doesn't invite you to something. Right? The knowledge doesn't change us. It's the practice of it. And does it get easier? Sure. Just like working out gets easier. Feels like shit at first, right? It's very hard. Same when you're learning this work. It's going to feel hard. but eventually it gets easier, but you keep doing it, right? And you don't beat yourself up for thinking in a couple weeks it hasn't worked. You're not feeling different. No, you work and you implement at it, okay? So let's go really quickly through your actions. Okay. So this is the Think on Purpose process, okay? And these are the actions you can take for this week. So step number 1 is awareness. So we can't change anything, right? In us, in our reality, and how we feel. Like we can't change any stress. My daughter's calling me like on repeat. We can't change any of our thoughts unless we first bring awareness to them, right? Like we can't work with anything until we see what we're working with, okay? So the first step is bringing awareness to what you are currently thinking. And I'm going to be honest, sometimes this can be scary. Like sometimes people are like, I don't want to uncover it. And it feels very icky, right? To see what we're really thinking or what our real beliefs are. But here's the thing. It's like a disgusting room. We can keep the lights off, but it doesn't change the junk that we're standing in, that's surrounding us, that filth, right? So at least when we turn the light on and we see what's there, we can start cleaning it up. So it can be frightening, but we want to turn the light on and see what we're truly thinking so that we can start changing it. We can start working on that, okay? So here's a couple exercises, a couple ways. So I hope you have a pen and paper and you can like write this process down, or you can watch the replay and write this down and take more notes on this. So ways to bring, oh no, I snagged my shirt. So ways to bring awareness. The first thing you can do is watch yourself thinking. Okay. So become an observer. So like I said in the beginning, most people are in their thoughts. They're just inside of their thoughts. They're thinking their thoughts. They're living out their thoughts. They're just in them. What you want to practice doing is separating yourself from yourself and watching yourself having thoughts. Separate yourself from your thoughts. And it sounds crazy, but I've done this for so long that I can do it so quickly now. And when people ask me like, well, what were you thinking? I can very quickly tell them. I can go back and I'm like, oh yeah, I know exactly what I was thinking. Because I'm so in tune with watching myself think. I'm so aware of my thoughts at all times. It is a skill that will pay off huge. So every minute you put into this is going to pay off for the rest of your life. Forever, you're going to have this skill. So just practice observing yourself thinking, having thoughts. You're not one with your thoughts. You're a person with a brain having thoughts. Sometimes that helps even to I tell my people to look to think of their brain as different, right? Like it's not you, it's your brain. So look at your brain. What's your brain doing? What's it offering? Okay. But either way, you can either separate it, watch yourself, or think of your brain as a different entity, right? What's your brain offering you? But just the thought of observing, right? Tapping into that and becoming aware. And again, you'll get better at it. The next exercise for bringing awareness, so we're still in step number 1, awareness. This is a life-changing exercise. So it's called a brain dump. It will absolutely change. This is just the best way, I think, to bring awareness and just change what's really, look at what's really going on. So you set a timer for 5 minutes and you just sit down and you just dump everything out of your brain. Just everything out onto a piece of paper. Do not try to do this in your head. I have people try, and I tried to do it myself, and my clients try to do it. They're like, oh, I just did it in my head. No. You want to get it on paper or onto a note on your phone, whatever, just somewhere outside of your head that you can look at it. Look at it separately, right? So set a timer for 5 minutes and just get out all of the thoughts that are in your head. There's a couple ways to do this. You can either do it randomly, which is a great way to kind of just tune in and just become more aware of your thoughts. The other way to do it is on a specific thing, right? Like a specific situation or person or area of your life. That's a really powerful way. So maybe something happened to you. Like we talked about these unintentional thoughts. Like maybe something happened where it's like, okay, my husband forgot my brain. You can sit down and actually do that, right? What are all my thoughts on that? Or maybe it's like an area of your life. I love to do this to find really deep beliefs is what are my thoughts about my body? What are my thoughts about being an entrepreneur, being a business owner? What are my thoughts on money? So you write money at the top of the paper and you write all your thoughts about it. Maybe it's a goal you have. I want to lose 20 pounds. So you write that, losing 20 pounds. What are all my thoughts about that? What are my thoughts on my relationship? Write your husband or your wife or your partner. Write that at the top of the paper. Write all of your thoughts about that person. You're going to find so much out. Things that you probably don't even know are going on in your head and that you're thinking. It is so powerful. So again, you can either do it randomly, just to be like, why am I feeling like? Another thing to do is like, if you're feeling a certain way, like if I'm feeling a certain way, that's like like almost like an alarm to me to like do a brain dump or do a thought download. It's like, okay. And then I look and I'm like, no wonder I'm feeling stressed. No wonder I'm feeling anxious. Look at all of these. Like most people are just like, I have anxiety. I struggle with anxiety. It's like, no, I'm a person who's feeling anxiety. And here's why. So powerful, right? It's like, I'm sad all the time. No, you're a person who's feeling sad. And here's why. Like, let's not identify with that. And I'm not saying that there's not clinical things. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, when we just automatically think it's just who we are, it's like, no, here's why. Like, let's delve into this. So again, you can either do it randomly. You can do it if you're having a feeling. You can do it on specific parts of your life, which is so powerful. And what happens is, so I have this in my phone and I have a whole library, and I have my clients do this as well. I have a whole library of different categories and all of these powerful thoughts, right? I write down the ones I don't want, and I'm going to get to that, writing down things you do want. But you can create this beautiful library for yourself. So that's how you do, that's how you bring awareness. So practice that this week. Practice every day this week, doing a 5-minute thought download or brain dump, and just see what comes out. The second thing we do is now it's time to question. And this is so powerful. So I want you to look at all of those thoughts you put down. So say it was on your body and you wrote all of these thoughts down. Pull out a couple of them that really feel weighted, right? Like you can feel them in your body. Pull those out and then we're going to question them. And here's some questions you can ask. Who am I when I have this thought? Who am I when I think this? Like, how is it making me feel? How is it making me act, right? Who am I with this thought? And a really cool thing you can do is plug it into the life creation, like do an intentional life creation cycle. So you can do an unintentional life creation cycle where you plug that thought in as part of your questioning, plug it in and see, okay, how is this unintentional thought, this automatic thought that I'm having, how is this playing into my creation cycle, into my life creation cycle? What am I creating for myself? And look at that and then do an intentional one, right? So just question it. Who am I? Put it into the unintentional and see, who am I with this thought? Another question you can ask is, who am I without this thought? Who would I be without this thought? Okay. Do I want to keep thinking it? Okay. Number 3, and then decide. Okay. Decide to yourself, do I want to keep thinking this? And here's the thing. You might be like, yeah, I do. Maybe you do it on a situation. And maybe you were, like I said, I have clients who've gone through awful things. I've gone through some things, okay? Maybe you're like, yeah, I do want to think that. I do want to think that about, this situation, or like that's the only choice. And that's up to you, and there's nothing that I can do to control you, right? Like that's on you. You have your own free will. You can answer it that way. You can be like, I absolutely want to keep thinking that. I would just question why you would ever want to hold on to something that's hurting you. Why you would ever want to hold on to a thought or a belief that's making you feel a way that you don't want to feel. I would just question that. What are your reasons? Is it because that person deserves it, or that, situation you can't, maybe you think I can't think a certain way, or maybe it's that person deserves it. Just question those thoughts. Like, because that person that you're thinking is deserving it, or that situation, that thing that happened, like that you think is deserving you to think those thoughts and like not turn them around. They're not affected by that though. Like you are. It's affecting everything in your life. How you feel every day, how you show up to create your life. So it's like, why, right? I can't force you to change it, but I would definitely just prompt you to question why, right? And if you think you can't, I promise you can. It might take some unpacking, right? Some like purposely trying to like inch forward on that, but it's worth all of that effort. So decide, even if it's true. I was in a coaching group, and one of the girls kept saying, I have ADHD. I have ADHD. And the coach would say, try this. And then she would say, yeah, but I have ADHD. I can't. That doesn't work for me. Okay, well, try this. Well, I have ADHD. And so my coach just said, like, I'm not saying that you don't have that, right? That could be a circumstance. That could be a fact, right? It's out of our control. But does it serve you to keep thinking it, right? Like, I have this, so I can't. I have this. I have this. It's like, even if the thought's true, do I want to keep thinking it? Is it helping me to create? Is it helping me feel how I want to feel and create what I want to create? If not, just stop thinking it, right? Decide, do I want to keep thinking it? The fourth step in the process is to create. So once you decide, like, no, I do not want to keep thinking that. Now it's time to create what you would rather be thinking, right? The intentional thought. We've discovered our unintentional, right? We want to create intentional. So what are thoughts that you would rather be thinking? And again, people think this is like positive thinking. Very different, right? Positive thinking is like, oh, I'm just going to like think these positive things, right? I'm going to be positive Polly and think all these, but it's like, no, this is real. This is real life. We're training our brain. It's not just positive. We're not just positive Polly. We're not positive all the time, right? Sometimes it's just reaching for a neutral thought if we're thinking a bad thought. So it's choosing something that you believe and that you feel in your body. That's how I know when I've like hit the jackpot on my thought. I'm like, oh, that one feels so good. It's kind of like trying on clothes, right? You just try new thoughts on until you're like, ooh, I like that one. You might be like, ugh, that one doesn't feel great. That one doesn't feel great. Just play with it. Find the one that feels, and then you might outgrow it, right? You're like, that one doesn't fit anymore. Maybe you lost weight, gained weight. That thought doesn't fit anymore. And then you're on to the next one. I will say, I look back at my old thoughts. I'm like blown away. I'm like, I used to think that, like, I actually have record, like I watched the progression of like what I believed, right? And then it's like, I eked to here and to here. And then it's like, I used to, when you're here and you look right here, you're like, oh, I'm still kind of in between. But then you're here and you're like, I used to think that. It's wild. It's so wild. So anyway, it's like the progress is like, this is real. I promise you. You just have to find what works for you, like you can feel to be most effective and go with that. So maybe if you're like, I'm so disgusting, right? I'm so heavy. Like maybe if you like find yourself every time you look in the mirror being like, ugh, like I'm disgusting. And so you write your thoughts in your body and you're like, I'm fat, I'm disgusting, whatever. Maybe you can't jump to, I'm beautiful and fit. Like maybe that doesn't feel right to you. So maybe your thought is, I'm going to create, a thought of, I'm grateful that my body allows me to walk. That's something I think. I'm like, even after watching my brother go through ALS and stuff, it's like, I'm just grateful to have a body that every day I can just breathe. Right? I watched him not even be able to like get a breath. And it's like, just to be able to like breathe in. I know that sounds so silly, but I'm like, every day I'm like just grateful to like take a deep breath or walk, right? It's like, can you find gratitude in your body instead of thinking it's disgusting? Like, can you think I have a body? Again, my body allows me to walk, like whatever. Just think something that's more neutral. You might not be, and then we call that, like a thought ladder or a thought bridge, right? And then once you get good at thinking that, then you can go to, it's possible for me to lose weight. Like it's whatever, like just keep going until and then I say until, but it's like, it keeps going, right? I always have new thoughts to be working on, right? Because if you're growing and you're evolving, as I believe we should be to be feeling that's my belief, right? Then we're always on to new thoughts. So just keep bridging that and see the difference in how it makes you feel. Now, when you create these new thoughts, that was what I was talking about a little bit early, like just a couple minutes ago, is like creating that library. So what I have on my phone is like different categories. So my body, my business, my relationship, my kids, right? Like parenting, my relationship with my daughter, like all of these things, I have categories for them. And when I find those empowering thoughts, right, that I feel, I put them in there and I create this library of thoughts that I can think on purpose, things that I can intentionally go to and think on. Right? It's like I can go through these thoughts and really, or maybe I pick one or two for the week that I really, really focus on. We're going to get to practicing in a second. But like you just have this library of empowering thoughts and beliefs. And that's how you change, right? My coach would always tell me like the most thought will win, right? Like the most thought will win. So which are you thinking more, right? It's going to take practice. But if I'm just automatically think, and that's why it takes so much practice, right? Your brain's just automatically still giving you those old thoughts. So you have to go to work. Like, you have to be intentional for thinking these new ones. And once you think it enough, right? Once you practice it enough, then your brain just starts accepting that. It's like, okay, right? When those scales tip is up to you. Like, how much work are you putting in? How much time and intentionality are you putting into it? If your brain's offering these, you're just thinking it over and over, right? It's like, yeah, you feel like shit, of course. But if you go in and you start practicing and practicing and practicing, eventually those scales even out. And then eventually they go, it's like I tell my clients, I'm like, play more here. I'm not saying that those thoughts because they're like, well, I'm still thinking this stuff. Of course you are. Play more here. Where are you playing more? Your brain's automatically going to offer you this, but it's your job to play here more and more, because this is also true. You've written it down. You've come out with it as something that you do believe, right? Somewhere inside of you, you think you believe that. So yes, you have this, but you also have this. It's up to you to intentionally think on that. They're both there. Which one are you going to play in more? Which area are you going to play in more? And that's what I think the beauty of coaching is, right? It's like coming back week after week to refocus, to recalibrate. That's where the real change happens. Like, that's why I'll never be without a coach. It's like, that's what keeps me focused and going and going. And because it's like, without it, I will fall back into, right, what my brain's trying to offer me. So to me, there's nothing more important, right, than refocusing all the time, week after week. So powerful. And then practice. So the last part of this is, now you have your empowering thoughts, or your better thoughts, right? You want to practice them. They're only as good as how much you practice them. I always say they're like weights, but you have to pick them up. It's not enough to buy the weights and create the thoughts, write them down. You want to lift them like weights. You want to work on your mental health, your well-being, right? How you feel. Lift those weights. So how we do that, here's a couple ideas of how to practice. I teach my clients something called a thought pivot. And this is a tool I created just to make it easy for them to think of it. So when their old thoughts come up, when they catch themselves looking in the mirror and thinking I'm disgusting, or when their husband leaves a towel on the floor thinking, he's so selfish and doesn't think of anything but himself, or whatever. When those old thoughts, your brain just automatically offers to you, when those come up, we intentionally thought pivot. Like, in the moment, we're like, I'm going to pivot and I'm going to think one of my intentional thoughts instead. And I think picking an area of focus is very powerful. Like, just focusing on whether it's your relationship or money or whatever it is, just really getting momentum in that focused way is so powerful. So anyway, so when those old things come up, you just refocus, right? Like, thought pivot. Think of your intentional thought that you created. Another way you can do it is thinking of like a certain time, right? Like, maybe it's in the morning and in the night. I teach my clients to bookend their days with different things, right? With things that are important to them. But that might be something useful for your bookends, right? So you purposely wake up in the morning and you think of, you recite, you say, you feel these new thoughts in your body, and you think them and you say them out loud or say them in your head, and you think on them on purpose. And then in the evening, you do the same thing. So as soon as you wake up, before you go to sleep. So you're really just meditating on those. Or maybe it's setting an alarm throughout the day. Maybe you're like, okay, I'm going to set 3 alarms throughout the day, and I'm going to take some time to just think these thoughts on purpose. Okay, those are just a couple powerful ways to practice your new thoughts. And that is what I have for you today. I hope that this process, I hope you will try it. Just try and implement it and just see the difference that it makes in how you feel. This is such life-changing work. And this is the work that I do with my clients. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, send me a message. You can comment here. I'd love to hear your takeaways too. So whatever your takeaways, your favorite takeaways, put those in the comments so that I know. I love to hear what's really speaking to you so that I know how to better help my clients and how to better expand on certain things. So let me know that. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. You can also message me directly. And I would love to hear from you. So again, tomorrow is going to be so good. We're going to be talking about feelings. We're going to take this a step further. So like the first one, we just talked about circumstances, right? And how taking responsibility is the first step, right? We have to take responsibility for what we're creating in order to change anything. And then the second step, like we talked about today, is like, okay, now that we've taken responsibility, now what do we do? Okay, let's learn to think on purpose. That is our responsibility. Tomorrow, we're going to take it even deeper. We're going to talk about feelings. And I truly believe feelings are the key to life. How we feel, being able to feel anything will change your life. Being able to create how we like ordering off of a menu. It's so powerful. And I even think this work, like just being able to feel, being equipped to feel anything is just so valuable. So tomorrow, I feel like, is going to be the best in the whole series. So show up tomorrow, 11 a.m. and come spend some time with me. And again, invite your friends. If you have not, invite them over to the group so they can join in and hit the replays or even tomorrow's live. All right. I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Okay. Bye.